Welcome back, nerds. Fino here with a guide for the upcoming Arctic Summer World event. The main reason to participate is to get one of these summer Valkyries, who are functional AoE arts assassins. Instead of being paired with each other like Lancer Valkyrie, the summer Valks each have one new Valkyrie as an alternate skin. Thrud is paired with Hildr, this uncanny composite arcade/saber looking Valkyrie. Ortlinda has Gerskogel, a name I only know because I moonlight as a floor tank. And Hildr comes with Olrun, the green one. I'd strongly recommend going with Hildr. Not because she's stronger, all the Valkyries have the same specs, Mecha Ellie style, but she is the hottest and I won't hear anything to the contrary. You can only pick one of the three sets. The good news is that, mechanically, they're all the same. The bad news is that this event has no rerun and Arctic Summer World lost in the Japanese event rerun poll. The player base opted for Summer Adventure and Lilim Harlot instead, so as far as we know, we get one shot and only one shot at this. Have fun deciding. As for the event itself, the core idea is that you farm ice to improve the map and get an income of points and materials. You need these points to get goods from the point ladder and unlock new sections of the event story. It's one of those things where you need to check in once in a while to collect shit before it maxes out. But if you, say, wait until the final 3 days of the event to start it, you're not completely screwed. Free quests also give points, but being proactive with your upkeep will save you quite a bit of AP over time. To enhance your ice farming, you'll want to grab one of the event CEs, Fist of Hail. Names are tentative as I'm writing this, so you might see some variants on the NA server. 4 copies are in the shop, the last one is deep in the point ladder. The other event CE is also in the point ladder. That would be Ice Warrior, which amplifies your damage. The only requirement to play this event is to clear Fuyuki, so you could easily end up in a fight that's above your pay grade. Now's a good time to mention that the event servants have damage and bond bonuses, and Arcade is thrown in there just because, much like Castoria was for Summer Camp. Summer Ibuki notably gets one as well, which will let you brute force the lower end nodes even at NP1. As for Ice Warrior, it might, assuming you're not running a full efficiency loadout, give you a leg up on the 90+ and 90++ quests. You heard me right, 90++. This is our very first node in the new paradigm. Ultra high difficulty farming quests that require overwhelming firepower and careful charge management to clear. And this one is a pretty nasty starting point. A 111 Lancer Gauntlet culminating in a 1 million health Enkidu. And even by 90++ standards, Enkidu is a fucker of a final boss. He has few exploitable weaknesses, really just his Lancer class and Heaven attribute. And you can get anti-Heaven buffs through someone like Nero Bride, but the funny thing is that a lot of the other servants with anti-Heaven Noble Phantasms are archers. What I ended up doing is using a single core setup and shoving as much charge into Creamhild as possible. At NP4 and no Grails, I could get Enkidu within a single face card of going down. So good enough. Ice Warrior does a lot of heavy lifting in this fight, with its damage bonus and starting charge, so work around that if you're having trouble meeting the charge requirements. Oh, and you really want Oberon for this style of encounter. But if this is all too overwhelming and you don't want to deal with it, try the 90+ node instead, which is a much more manageable 3-1-2 rider encounter. However, conventional wisdom is that even with 5 CEs, a 90++ clear will give you more bang for your buck than a 90+ node. Not by a tremendous margin necessarily, but it does add up over time. And if you can 6-slot consistently, you should aim to do so because those gains become more substantial. Moving on, there's some fancy drip you can get in the event shop. Costumes for Doman, Yanqing, Asclepius, and of course the Valkyries. The command codes in the point ladder are decently notable, so you'll want to add them to your toolbox. Child of the Snowfield cleanses a debuff and comes with a small heal. You can never have enough cleanses, so definitely grab that. Michirushi no Tsurugi ignores defense and comes with star absorption. The former is very rare on command codes, so this one is also a must-have. Lastly, Goodnight V purges an enemy crit chance buff and replaces it with a multi-turn arts resistance debuff. Now let's talk about the challenge quest. This is a servant gauntlet, but it's structured a bit strangely. At first, Thrud is the only one on the field with a substantial 5-turn arts resistance buff and 3 stacks of debuff immunity. Once you break her bar, she transforms into Hildr and gains a bust resistance buff on top of that arts resistance, if it hasn't timed out yet. She then summons Gareth, who taunts herself and anyone who attacks her. Once she's defeated, she passes on this effect and a multi-turn defense buff to the Valkyrie on the field. On her final break, Hildr will transform into Ortlinda and gain NP damage resistance. She also opens the floodgates for the final 4 enemies. The first of these is Asclepius, who cleanses the enemies, gives them 1 stack of purge resistance, and a big health regeneration effect. On death, he throws out 2 stacks of debuff immunity to his allies and heals them for 50k. Next is Lady Avalon, who stops your push with a single turn of invulnerability and 1 additional charge level for all her allies. These summons won't happen until Ortlinda takes her first turn, so don't worry about immediately getting comboed into her Noble Phantasm. On death, Proto Merlin gives her Team Accelerated charge. Third in line is Mr. Fister. He shows up with a huge crit chance buff and gains sure hit against anyone with the taunt effect. On defeat, he passes on a slightly weaker version of those effects to everyone else. The final enemy is Doman, who gives you a trade offer. He has the cooldowns on your Mystic Code skills, but sprays a pile of curses on one of your frontliners, sucks 20% charge out of your team, and purges your defensive buffs. Also, it's not actually a trade offer, you have to take it. For this reason, you'll absolutely want to make sure that none of the existing enemies are on their NP turn before you let him enter the fight. When you take him out, he shits out even more curses. Nasty stuff. So a few things to consider. The Valkyries hit quite hard and gain a multi-turn attack buff every time they transform, so be ready for a struggle, especially if you're trying to speed clear this fight. The compounding resistances might seem like a big issue, but A, Quick isn't covered in that list, and B, you can brute force through those buffs with a strong enough attacker in any card type. In my footage, Arquade was able to blow away Hildr even through a protection. Evidently back in 2022 I thought running both Arquade and Zhengong was the solution, which turned into this clown fiesta you're watching now. But conveniently, most of the problems in this challenge quest can be solved by waiting them out. None of the enemies here can handle the Immortal team, so if you just want to grind through all the bullshit, they'll get the job done. And wouldn't you know it, there's a component of the Immortal team that's going to be on the summer gacha banners, Lady Avalon. I'll be rolling for her this weekend, twitch.tv/Finotaisen. I stream Friday through Sunday at 3 PM Pacific time. I've got Sleeping Dogs on Friday, the finale of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament on Saturday, and Lady Avalon rolls on Sunday. You won't want to miss it. Also subscribe for more Arctic Summer World content coming soon. Till next time.